Nikki, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast. You have a wealth of experience when it comes to leadership, as well as marketing and branding yourself. So we have a lot to talk about in this short time frame. We'll try to cover it all for our listeners today. But before we dive into any of the specifics, Nikki, share a little bit about yourself and your journey in the leadership space. What brought you here today?
I'm actually originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. This wasn't going to be a place to raise a Christian family. So he got together with my mom and they made a plan. They said, there's gun battles going on in the streets. We're out of here. So it took them a while, but they got us out of Iran. And first we went to Greece, and then eventually we settled where I now live in Toronto, Canada. Now, you got to get, I was a kid at the time, right? I didn't want to leave my home or my friends. But in retrospect, it was the single greatest thing mom and dad could have done for me and my two brothers. The sacrifice they made was absolutely unbelievable. They took us from a legacy of tyranny to a legacy of freedom. And if you think about this as an entrepreneur, freedom is the bedrock of you being able to make your dreams come alive. I believe every man, every woman on this planet wants to march to the beat of their own drummer, wants to chart their own course. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have to have that. Otherwise, you can't decide what you're going to do and what direction you're going to move in. And to me, entrepreneurs are society's greatest heroes, but they need to be educated as to the importance of standing up for a free society. And there are dark forces out there all around the world that are trying to crush those freedoms. They're trying to say things like misinformation means you don't get to say what you want to say. Free speech is dead. And if free speech is dead, free enterprise is dead, and entrepreneurship is dead. So I say this, first and foremost, as entrepreneurs, let's stand up for freedom. And my late father, God bless him, he was an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. Rebecca, if you met him, you would have loved this man. If you were his friend and you were trying to find a job, he'd sit you down in his office. He'd call all his buddies. He'd ethically manipulate them till one of them gave you a job, right? If you were trying to start a company, he'd sit you down, and he was a very smart man. He'd started several businesses. He'd give you his best advice. He'd introduce you to money people, to customers, to get you going. And if you were his friend and you were trying to buy a car or a house and the bank wouldn't give you quite enough money, he'd top you up with a loan that he'd never let you pay back, even if you wanted to. And people say to me, Nicky, man, come on. What are you talking about? Who does this? This isn't real. You're like exaggerating. I go, I'm not. They said, who does this? I go, well, for one, the late, great Nicky Billou. And they'd say, well, why? Well, first and foremost, he was a devout and committed Christian. He believed he'd been blessed by his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and it was his duty to share those blessings with his fellow man and fellow woman. Secondly, he did it because he could. He was rich. He was successful. He had the money. Growing up, I idolized this man. I wanted to be like him. I got into entrepreneurship because I thought entrepreneurs were the greatest people, and I wanted to help entrepreneurs be successful. That was my whole shtick. My dad would tell me every day growing up, son, life isn't about numbers. It's about people. It's not a numbers game. It's a people game. My mentor, Mark von Musser, says to me. And dad would say, that lady sitting in front of you, that's someone's daughter. That's someone's sister. That's someone's wife. That's someone's mother. She's a hero to somebody. Maybe someone just like you let her down and disappointed her in life or in business. It's your job to restore her faith in humanity. And so I got into the business of serving entrepreneurs. And the first thing I saw, Rebecca, was so many good people were good at what they did, good at delivering results for people, but they weren't so good at business. They were scared of marketing and sales. Sales especially, they didn't want to be one of those pushy salespeople, reeking of commission breath when they walked in the room. So they wouldn't go after business, Rebecca, that they should be going after. And so they wouldn't get that business, right? And that would hurt them, but it would also hurt the client because the client wouldn't get the help they needed. And then some charlatan marketer would come in and scoop up that business, not caring what they had to say to get it, and also not caring whether they delivered or not. If they delivered, it was a happy accident. And the sum total of goodness in the world goes down because everybody gets hurt, even the charlatan, because what goes around comes around. And so I saw this and I thought, I can help these people. So I come from a business family. I studied business in school. So I said, okay, what can I help these people do? So first off, I teach people, it's not about you, it's about them. Don't put the attention on you, put it about them, right? It's not about your amazing program or any of that stuff. It's about the person in front of you and what kind of pain and suffering they're going through. If your attention is on, I hope they like me, I hope they're going to buy from me, please, they're going to feel that and it's not going to go well for you. But if your attention is, I hope that I'm the right person to be of service, that energy is different and they'll pick up on that. And that's when you'll attract people and go, okay, I'm ready to work with you. Right. And just teaching my clients this, I've helped them double, triple, quadruple their business. They did nothing else. They had no other fancy strategies or tactics. They just took the attention off themselves, put the attention properly while it belonged on the other person. There was a woman I worked with, beautiful, wonderful woman named Adele, like the singer. Adele, what a great name, right? So
Great name.
Adele is introduced to us. She's working with these charlatan type dudes. She spent 125,000 on them for all kinds of coaching, CO, other help. Zero return, zero. Her husband goes, "Honey, I love you, but you're spending us into the poorhouse. Give me your credit card, please." Right? She was like brokenhearted because she knew she had something good for people. But she met us and we went to her and we said, "Look, we know what's wrong with your business model. We can help you." She said, "Okay, but this better work. I'm counting on you." Because she'd been burned a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I said to her, "Look, let's get clear on who your ideal client is," which we did. And I said to her, "Don't focus on whether or not they're going to buy from you. Focus on whether or not you can truly help them end their suffering. Like, really get curious about this." At first, this is all she did. She was lucky if she made 2 grand a month
Mm,
before we met her. And then she started making 20, 30 grand a month. She showed me her Infusionsoft, which is now called Keep. We used to
mhm.
call it Infusionsoft back in the day. A year ago, she had $532 for the month of January. A year later, after 6 months with us, she had $53,000. It was 100x, 100x. And it came from putting the attention where it belonged on the person sitting in front of her who was suffering.
Wow, what a powerful story. And Nikki, that just goes back to one thing that I hold dear and that our human resources are our greatest asset. And that's where a business can build out their core competencies that differentiate them and then can lead to that greater success. And it sounds like your father was a great leader, not just for you in terms of demonstrating what that empathetic, compassionate leadership can be, but a great leader for the folks around him that craved that support and encouragement. So, all of that said, what is the framework that you apply to help people build that or understand that? I think you call it the heart designation program. Is that part of what you're talking about? Explain a little bit of that for us so we can
Yeah, it's
understand.
the heart leader designation, right? So I'm in the business of helping people get clear on their thought leadership, right? What is it that makes them unique and make them stand out? Well, your personal brand, if you will, is another way to put it. But, Simon Sinek said, "People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do." And it's your heart that speaks to that. And so a heart leader is someone who leads from the heart, someone who cares about their fellow woman and fellow man ahead of their commission. You know, it's really, really important to do that. I'm gonna share a story with you of a young man that I actually God, I originally met him 10 years ago. It's pretty crazy. So he was 25 at the time, February 2015. His name was Dan, and he was a personal fitness trainer. And Rebecca, this guy was a good dude. He was just a good dude. Like if you knew him and you had a daughter, you'd want your daughter to date him. You know what I mean? You want your
Yeah.
sister to date him. You just go tell her, look, just stop dating these losers. Come go out with this guy. Just trust me. You're gonna be happy you did. This was a good, kind-hearted, for other people human being, right? Unfortunately, and I'm going to use a technical, sophisticated business term to describe his business acumen. He sucked at business. That's the technical, sophisticated business term. He sucked at it. He just sucked at it. He had 7 clients that paid him 25 bucks an hour. He lives in Toronto and he made $1,200 a month in a good month. Now, Toronto is the New York City of Canada, okay? So if you know anything about the cost of living in New York City, you understand the cost of living in Toronto. $1,200 a month ain't gonna cut it. So he came to me and he said, "Nicky, I need to make money. I need to make money. I need to make money." Have you ever had anybody come and say that to you, Rebecca? "I need to make money. I gotta make money." Well, that was Danny. I go, "All right, Danny, explain to me. Who do you help? What are they dealing with?" He said, "Well, I'm a personal fitness trainer. I can help people with any health and fitness problem whatsoever. I can solve it for them." I'm like, "Yeah, Danny, that's not going to help you attract clients. If that's how you're going about doing your business, I can see why you're not doing well." He said, "Okay, okay, what should I do? What should I do? I need to make money. I need to make money." And I said, "Well, tell me, you know, how do we narrow this to a group you want to help?" He goes, "Okay, let me think, let me think, let me think." He said, "I got it. Doctors, doctors. Where'd you come up with doctors?" He says, "Well, my dad's a doctor. And I love my dad." I'm like, "Okay, that's great." He said, "Also, doctors make a lot of money, and I need money." I said, "Danny, no, no, this money thing, it's not going to work, man. No, 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 I got to do it." Didn't work. You got like one, maybe two clients. And I go, "Danny, it's not working." He goes, "You're right, you're right, you're right." I says, "Okay, narrow, narrow niche, narrow niche." "Okay, I got a cardiologist, cardiologist. I'm going to do cardiologist." I'm like, "They make more money than doctors, and I need money." I'm like, "Danny, it's not going to work. Danny, stop." "No, I'm doing it." No cardiologist signed up with him. But incidentally, through serendipity, through luck, through coincidence, he signed up a Paralympian, Papito Wilson, an African Cuban man who lost a leg in a childhood accident. They did amazing work together. They really hit it off. He helped Pepito win a gold medal at a major international competition. So it was a big deal. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, right? He comes to me looking all sheepish and he's going, "Nicky, I'm sorry." I go, "What are you sorry for?" He said, "You've been trying to tell me don't go after the money." And I didn't listen. I go, "That's true." He said, "You were right and I was wrong. I've been doing this a couple of times. So I know what I'm talking about, generally speaking." He said, "I don't want to go after the money anymore." He said, "I want to help people with missing limbs because I know how to help them." I said, "Danny, like I could feel the rightness of that statement enter my soul." I'm like, "Go for it, Danny." I got goosebumps when he told me. There was just a powerful shift in my energy. Maybe you feel it too when I'm recounting it for you. So Rebecca, he's not going after the money anymore, right? And he has no money to do any ad spend, any marketing. He has no money. It's basically no money. So this is all word of mouth and him putting himself out there. In 6 weeks, he signed up 400 clients.
Wow.
He did one-on-one in-person personal training. That was no longer the model once he signed 400 clients. That was impossible to do that, right? Model changed so he could actually deliver on it. We created some sort of hybrid online group coaching thing. Um, his monthly income went to over $100,000 a month. A month, because he wasn't trying to go after the money. He went after helping a fellow human being in pain. Now, Rebecca, put yourself in the shoes of someone with a missing limb. Not thrilled about having a missing limb, yes or yes. Not thrilled about it.
Oh, yeah.
Prefer to have all their limbs, right? You'd prefer to have all your limbs. Maybe hiding it from the world, but angry, upset, maybe feeling like they're less than, they're not as good as other people, and it upsets them even more. Maybe all that is there. And Rebecca, Dan's message, why he signed up so many people so quickly, was no longer, "Hey, you're a doctor, you got money, come sign up with me." It was, "I see you. You are a fellow child of God, and you can do anything anyone else can do, and I'm here to help you do that and help you prove it to yourself." You can see why that would work, right?
Oh, yeah. How do we, that's a great, powerful message for anyone in any type of leadership. How do we take that into team leadership, that servant leader mindset? How would you apply that for a manager who has a team they're working with and maybe they can't go out and seek, maybe they're not, recruiting their team members, maybe they have a team that they're given and they're potentially struggling or trying to connect with them, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's looking to develop that relationship and help in that transformation of someone's life? How does that mindset apply?
Well, if you're leading a team of people, I think you should meet with everybody and get curious, ask them lots of questions, find out, who they are, why they're in this job, what's important to them, what's their vision for the future, and ask them what kind of help do they need and
Mm,
offer to give it to them as their manager, as their leader. Because if they don't know you, they're probably a little nervous, probably got their dukes up, metaphorically speaking.
yeah.
And, they're going to make sure they don't make any obvious glaring mistakes in that headspace, but they're also not going to be there giving you their very best. They're going to give
Mm,
you their best if they think you care about them and you want to see them win.
yeah. Sounds like listening is very important in that regard. Both Adele and Dan were listening to the folks who needed them and curious versus assuming or applying of, you could call it a mindset to, or maybe even a persona of who they think that they want to work with. But we really need to pay attention to where people are struggling or need the most help. Is that accurate? Would you disagree, agree?
You got to listen to people. I totally agree. I mean, if all you're doing in a conversation with somebody is talking, there's no room for you to understand enough to be helpful.
Yeah. It's hard, I can imagine you're talking about a lot of great points that we could take into marketing too, because, as someone who is out to help people and support whoever their audience is, whatever their ideal client is, we want to be helpful. And at the same time, kind of to your point, we might be a Dan and trying to increase our revenue, increase our income at the same time. And the messaging around that could be in conflict. So when it comes to building a personal brand, and maybe the most obvious thing is, oh, well, here's how I help people. But how do you build that up and reach your audience in order to help those folks in a way that doesn't come across as salesy? I love your way of putting it, commission breath, as having that commission breath. How do you develop that in a way that is genuine and authentic, to use some of our marketing buzzwords that are out there, so that you truly are reaching the audience you want to connect with?
It's a great question. And let me tell you a story about uh, a wonderful woman that I worked with about 5 years ago. I'm going to call her Dr. Vicky. She was a functional medicine doctor. Now, this was an accomplished, successful, amazing, lovely woman at every level. She was going through a very hard time. She'd been going through a breakup, and her father was dying of glioblastoma, brain cancer. It was eating her brain and killing him, eating his brain and killing him. She was daddy's girl, and man, it was devastating her. And she came to us saying, my father's dying. There's nothing I can do about it, but I want to honor him. And when he passes, I want to honor his memory by becoming the best I can be, by becoming successful, because he was successful as an entrepreneur. Can you help us? And by us, she meant her and her father, right?
Yeah.
I said, absolutely. A few months later, her father passed away, and we went to the wake, and it was very sad. But this is a woman who knew how to help people, but she didn't know who her ideal client was. So the first thing we did is we said, let's look at all your past clients. And so I said, make a list of who are the people you got amazing results for. So she did that. Make a list of who did you love working with. She did that. Then make a list of who was easy to do business with, i.e. they pay in full, on time, give you lots of referrals. Very different from someone who's just like constantly dickering with you over price, and they want everything. Those people are the toughest to work with. People that are easy to work with go, oh, here's a check for 30,000. See you tomorrow. Like, those are the kinds of people I want to work with.
Right.
Anyway, she made a list of those. It turned out they were professional women over the age of 45, married with children, very successful, great marriages. Just one problem. Now, Rebecca, I'm a man, and I'm freely admitting I don't understand women. And I'll also freely admit that I could be wrong in what I'm about to state. But I've heard somewhere before that women love being admired for being lovely and beautiful, and that they don't like not feeling lovely and beautiful. I've heard that this is true of women somewhere before in my life. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. So these 45-plus-year-old women didn't feel lovely and beautiful anymore. In fact, they felt unattractive, and that their youth and their beauty was a thing of the past. And what she found out was that it really, really, really bothered these ladies. It was
Mm.
like massive, massive issue. But she said to us, and she'd said to her clients when these ladies had worked with her, listen, getting older is inevitable. The number is going to advance, but aging is not. You can look and feel just as beautiful in your 50s, 60s, 70s as you were in your 20s, 30s. I said, really? She says, oh, yeah, I'll show you. And I said, all right. So we branded her program, Get Your Sexy Man. It's a good name, right? Really good name. Proud of myself. I came up with that. She doubled her income in 1 year, and then doubled it again in her second year, and doubled it again in her third year. Now, she, as I said, did well. She made 6 figures a year, but now she was making 6 figures a month because the why was her father and her love for her father. She got clear on who her ideal client was, and she spoke to their souls, not to their intellects, to their soul. That's how you stand out. Not with fancy media and social media metrics and ads and algorithms and podcasts and videos and posting. All that's nice,
Yeah.
but that's not real.
Yeah.
What's real is when you're real and you care, and that transcends everything. And the right people will home into that. Period. Full stop. End of story.
Well, I think something that you've demonstrated very well for us, Nikki, is the storytelling aspect too, right? And having that story of the why. You mentioned Simon Sinek's why, having the understanding of the why, what is motivating you, but then the story of how you're helping people too. And you've shared some, I wasn't even expecting so many stories in such a short amount of time. And I think that helps us understand, the kind of impact that we can have as leaders. What's something that you would want leaders to know right now that could be holding them back from their own transformation, or their own kind of discovery of what kind of leader they want to be, whether it's a leader in their industry, of their business, of people? What could be holding people back from getting that discovery, that epiphany moment where you realize, aha, this is who I'm meant to help. This is what I'm meant to do.
Everybody needs someone to believe in them because no matter what, there's moments where our self belief wobbles. You've experienced it, I've experienced it. Okay. In the last little while, I just was working so hard, I came close to burnout. And I needed someone else to believe in me and say, hey, you're good. You deserve a break. Go on a vacation, get a Reiki treatment, get a massage, go on a date with your beloved, do all of that. Everyone needs this. You need this. I need this. Your listener needs this. And if you're listening to this, and maybe your self belief is a little low right now, maybe you don't fully believe in the greatness that you have anymore, all I can say to you is what I do is I believe in people. I'm a professional believer in people. And if all you need right now in your life is just to talk to somebody and unburden yourself and have someone believe in you for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, so that little spark can turn into a roaring fire for you, I'm happy to do that, man. Jump on my calendar and say, I need someone to believe in me, and I'll give you that time.
Oh, I love that. I hope everybody that's listening, if they need that, comment below because you got two folks right here who are ready to encourage and engage. I think that's so great, Nikki. And it makes me think too, sometimes folks are in a challenging work environment where maybe they don't have access to that in their professional lives, maybe not even in their personal life too. And hopefully if they're listening, they'll reach out to us. And sometimes they're in a situation where it's almost the opposite and they have someone limiting their belief or limiting their belief in themselves and their capacity and kind of putting constriction on them or putting them in a box and deciding that they are this one thing and they can't expand and grow beyond that. How do you break free or help someone break free from the limiting beliefs that are sometimes we're either conditioned to believe about ourselves or are put on us and we're trying to break out of that?
I think everyone needs to get out of here because the intellect is going to imprison you. The soul is going to set you free. 95% of your thoughts are unconscious and they're usually survival and fear based, right? How do you get away from that? You got to be part of a group. You got to be part of something. Don't do it alone. So I'll tell you a story, kind of to land the plane and end our conversation together. A few years ago, there was a woman who was introduced to us. She used to be the country director for Canada for one of the world's largest and oldest personal and professional development firms. Okay. And she was amazing. And she brought on this fella to help her run the firm that she thought was very talented. And at first, everything went swimmingly. They got along, things were growing. But after about a year, their visions of the future started to diverge. And there was a board of directors in this organization. And they sided with him, and she was out and very publicly out. Now, how do you get out of a firm you helped start? Well, with a board of directors, it's possible. It's kind of like Steve Jobs and Apple back in the early 80s with John Scully, right? Just like Steve, she's out, and just like Steve, he's trying to go and apologize to people. And they're like, hey, man, relax. She's like bereft, scared, lost. And then she gets put in front. And I work with my beloved Teresa, who's an incredible woman, one of the most lovely human beings on the planet. And Teresa saw that she was hurting. And she said to me, this girl just needs some love. And we just loved on her. We poured into her. We said, hey, you're awesome. You're amazing. We believe in you. We helped her get her ideal client clear. We helped her get her messaging clear. We got a plan to move forward and get clients for her. In her first month, she did $10,000. This was after 18 months with zero income. In her second month, she did $12,000 in coaching business. Third month, she did 18,000. But in her fourth month, wow, she did $62,200. That's a level we call black belt. Every $10,000 is a belt level, right?
Wow,
So white belt 10,000, black belt 60,000 plus. First woman in our company to hit that. There've been a couple men that had done it, but first woman.
that's
And we
great.
just was amazing. This is great. So she lives in Ottawa. I live in Toronto, 5-hour drive. My oldest son at the time was 12. At the time, he was a soccer player at a tournament in Ottawa. We're driving to Ottawa. I think, oh my God, let's call her up. See if she has a son his age. Let's have him come watch the game. Maybe have some lunch. So we called him, said, hey, want to come watch the game? Have some lunch? He goes, sure, bring your son. She did that. We won the tournament. Yay for us. We had lunch. Everyone loved it. We drove back to Toronto. She drove back to her home in Ottawa. Now, a few weeks later, we had one of our quarterly branded thought leader immersion workshops. This is a deep dive 3-day, exclusive, um, immersive workshop for very high level people. It costs $10,000 to attend. And basically, it sets you up to really commercialize your thought leadership and 5x, 10x your income. And at the end of it, we have an enrollment opportunity for a year-long version of the program, $40,000. The way that the enrollment opportunity works is it's very short. It's about half an hour. I don't bitch. I call on the people in the room and I ask them to explain what they're getting out of our program. So I normally say, who'd like to share? People put up their hand. I pick on someone, they come up. So I said, who'd like to share? She did not put up her hand, Rebecca. She bounded on stage and almost knocked me on my ass. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, all right, you're up. I go recede to the back of the stage. I'm a few feet behind her. I can only see her back and the audience. She did not speak for what seemed like forever. And I'm like, what's going on? Then I see her shoulder go up and I see her and I hear her sob. Why is she crying? Like any normal man, when confronted with a crying woman, my first thought is, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Why is she crying? So my girlfriend comes on stage with a box of tissues, gives her a hug, and then she comes and pulls me over, puts her arm around me. I'm going to call her Julie. And she said, Nicky, you didn't know this, but when you and your little son came to visit me and my little son in Ottawa, my little boy was all excited, saying, Mommy, who are we going to go meet? Who are we going to meet? And just to like quiet him down, I said, oh, sweetheart, we're going to go meet Nicky Billou and his son. And she said, all of a sudden, her boisterous, loud 12-year-old boy got super quiet and said, Mommy, are we going to meet the man who saved our family?
Mm,
So, Rebecca, I don't typically cry, and I cried like a little baby. We hugged. Everyone did what you said. Wow. And then she said, when I first came to see you all those months ago, I didn't tell you this, but the bank was about to foreclose on our home because we hadn't paid our mortgage in 18 months.
mm,
And my husband, who's an artist, not the main breadwinner in the family, I am, he and I were freaking out and fighting about money in front of our 3 little boys. Our boys were freaking out because they thought mommy and daddy are going to break up and the family will be no more. She said to me that it was all about money. And as soon as you came into our lives, you helped me make this money. I was able to pay back the bank. We stopped fighting and it saved our family. And our little boys noticed. And that's why my boy said, are we going to meet the man who saved our family? And normally, Rebecca, I pick on 2 or 3 people to share stories, but I made an executive decision that no one was going to top that. And I said, that's great. And I said to Teresa, my beloved, I said, sweetheart, could you hand out the registration forms? And I said, to everybody, here's the course, here's the investment. And normally, some people sign up right away. Some other people are a no, hand back the form, say no thanks. And some other people are, you got to sit down and talk to them, get them off the fence, right? But on this day, Rebecca, everyone signed up right away. And not only did everyone sign up right away, there were 2 men in the room who had privately spoken to me earlier during the program to say, look, I know I haven't fallen off the back of the turnip truck. You're going to have some sort of an enrollment opportunity, and that's all great. But I want you to know, not for me. I'm not signing up. So don't get mad. That's what they said to me. I said, I'm not going to get mad. Whatever you want to do. They were the first 2 guys to sign up. And one of them came up to me and like almost violently put the paper in my hands. said, "You son of a bitch." Whoa. He said, "I wasn't gonna sign up for your damn enrollment opportunity." And he was loud too. I'm like, dude, man, like, what the hell, man? Calm down. Keep your voice down. He said, "But I guess you're not completely full of shit, and I do need some help." And here's what I recognized on that day. It's not about me. It's not about me. I'm just God's instrument, his messenger in a small way, in a small thing to help people. And all I'm asking is, God, as long as it's your will, put other people in front of me who need help. Put other people in front of me. That's it.
Wow, what a story. Nikki, what a powerful message. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I would love for people to be able to reach out and connect with you. How can they find you online? Where would you like them to go to learn a little bit more about you and your great work?
I'm the only Nicky Billou on the planet. NICKYBILLOU. So, any social media, Google, what have you. I've written 11 books. Go to Amazon, check out my book list, pick up a copy or two of one or two of them, read them if that's your bag. But if you want to talk, if you need a little jolt of belief, or if you just want to have a conversation about life or your business, go to ecircleacademy.com/appointment. And honestly, I just want to encourage you to do that more than anything. Because in so many ways, people are so disconnected. They just go online, they buy a book, they do this. A human to human.
I love that. You're so right. Keep it human and keep it human centric as we look to build that relationship and connect. Well, Nikki, you've been a fabulous guest. Thank you for connecting with me and to our listeners. I hope you will connect with Nikki and give us your thoughts in the comments below, wherever and however you're listening. Thank you so much, Nikki, again. And thank you for everyone listening to the Bad Bosses Great Leaders podcast. Until the next one.